Kanye West has 99 problems and sanity is all of them. Honestly, I don't even know what we're doing here. This feels like a worse idea than Fire Festival 2, but Kanye West, in a move to continue to just cement his image and reputation, has decided to join the PDF Converter Club. He's now gone on an interview, because that's a great idea, with the one and only DJ Akademiks. Now, we're not normally in the mood of giving more exposure to these platforms and these influencers, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't actually react to the Bully album, but I feel like there's some things that are said and some lessons we need to learn here, and some issues we need to discuss, and we just can't ignore them. So here we go. Please make sure that you're a consenting adult, and let's jump into some of this interview.
Definitely. What is the real thing with you and Drake? Like, I've always been confused. It feels like I can't tell.
Why is this natural? We really are on the worst timeline. Like, look at Akademiks mirroring Kanye West's stance. Like, this is just a normal, everyday occurrence. I normally hang out with clan members, and it is, there we go. Here's our next meeting. Grandmaster Dragon West. Well, he makes fantastic cookies in the morning and a cup of coffee I always enjoy before we debate on who we're lynching next.
What is the real thing with you and Drake? Like, I've always been confused. It feels like I can't tell if it's a love-hate thing. You know, I've watched hundreds of hours of you talking about just interviews, and at a point, it felt like the energy shifted, and then we just started seeing it everywhere, and I can't tell, what is it?
Yeah, it's like family members that you don't fuck with. Like, I appreciate, one thing is, Drake is a million times better than Kendrick and a million times more important. You know what I'm saying? What Future has done, Thug, what Drake just...
Yeah, this is real life. Let's bring that back one more time.
What is it?
Yeah, it's like family members that you don't fuck with. Like, I appreciate, one thing is, Drake is a million times better than Kendrick and a million times more important.
Drake is a million times better than Kendrick and a million times more important. Didn't you, less than a year ago, drop a track and a remix to Like That, and you said this?
You know we had to get the hooligans up here. We're gonna take this pussy nigga out. Yo, Dot, I got you.
My bad, I must have forgotten that. Or did you also say this?
Y'all so out of sight, out of mind. I can't even think of a Drake line.
Now look, kids, drugs are bad, but sometimes drugs are important, especially if you have mental health issues, and it's critical to make sure that you're on the right drugs. But let's see if this amazing point just gets developed further.
The thing is, Drake is a million times better than Kendrick and a million times more important. You know what I'm saying? What Future has done, Thug, what Drake just culturally is, that shit last year, I couldn't even barely sit through that shit. That shit was insane, bro. That shit had Lucian Grange, Universal, Drake lawsuit shit written all over it. This shit, the I align, at the end of the day, all this shit I'm saying, Jim Jones, Kendrick did, all these celebrities, the funny thing is we're all in the same boat. But while we're on that boat, we're also fighting amongst each other. And as I get stronger and stronger...
Well, hey, Pot, I'm Kettle today. It must be opposite day. We're fighting amongst each other. You're the one. What are you wearing? What are you representing right now? You're talking about we're fighting amongst each other and all this division, right? You're the one who's being divisive with what you're wearing. You're being ignorant because you're going in there knowing that you're going to upset your own people. You're going to piss off your own people by what you're wearing. That is going to create division. And I guarantee you there'll be some people in the comment section. There will be some people, because I've seen it in the echo chambers of the internet, right? Oh, freedom of speech. Kanye can say what he wants. He can also wear what he wants. Yeah, but that doesn't make you free from consequence. That doesn't make you free from the repercussions of your actions and what you choose to do. If you choose to represent hip hop, if you choose to represent, and this is coming from me, this is coming from my melanin deficient self yet again. I can't believe I have to say this. I have to go on a fucking rant about this. But if you're going to come in here and you're going to try to be a pioneer for hip hop and represent hip hop in such a way, you can't turn around and be so divisive of black culture. You can't turn around and do this. I don't care what greater statement you're trying to make or what type of enlightened mission that you're on that the rest of us just common plebs don't seem to understand and don't get. But this is not the way to go about it. And what's wild to me is that Akademiks just accepts this. Not once in this interview does he really try to pull up Kanye or address the giant elephant in the room with what he is wearing, what he is representing by the KKK, by actual Klan members, right? Rooted in racism. Against who? I mean, what is happening? But anyways, we got more snippets from this just wonderfully informative interview. Let's dive into this part.
Now, I could say all these people were the family that I never had, but North is my actual family. So give me one reason, please. Because before it's all jealousy, is this and that, and now it's this far. So yes, I was jealous that Kendrick is on Cardi album, and I feel like that's two different genres. It seemed like J. Cole and Kendrick would be more like, I like mixing genres and shit, but yeah, I'm jealous. Yeah, I'm hearing this shit for the first time. Yeah, I'm not on it. Yeah, this man rapping about Skims. It's like, that's what, man, what about all this shit when I say I don't fuck with rappers? I don't fuck with celebrities. And then I do the Jay-Z tweet and people be surprised. Like, I told you niggas I don't fuck with niggas. Y'all niggas just don't be believing me.
I mean, that's it. Like, it's jealousy. You turn around and you celebrate Kendrick on one hand, and now all of a sudden, it's F Kendrick, and I'm going to align with Drake. And for me, what's even more wild to me is the Drake side of things, because Drake and Kendrick come up a lot throughout these conversations. There's even a Super Bowl snippet we'll dive into as well. But like, from DJ Diddy Demicks side of things, we all know who he rides with, who he aligns with, who he loves to share DMs with, and some of those DMs have been leaked. We don't cover every story on this channel because I enjoy breaking down music, and I would just be exhausted with the amount that there is to cover with stories between what's going on outside of all this. But like, think about it just from that perspective. Pan out. How does this make Drake look good? Why is this a good interview to take on board? You're just taking it on board for the clicks and for the controversy. But like, if you're going to constantly bring up Drake as talking points, like you have a point to prove, what is that point proving? When you have Kanye West wearing this, because yet again, it's like we continue to miss the biggest critique, the biggest issue that Kendrick took up with Drake, right? And why Not Like Us hit the way that it did. I mean, Daylight even talked about this the other day, right? Shout out to Curtis King, shout out to Daylight in that interview. What did Daylight say was Drake's biggest mistake? You're rapping like you're trying to get the slaves freed. And that singular line right there polarize the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, right? And then Kendrick turns around with his critique of Drake, that Drake is a cultural appropriator, right? That Drake doesn't try to move the needle of the culture. He doesn't care about connecting the history of hip hop, paying homage. He doesn't care about the issues of black identity and black struggle. He's just there to sell records and to do his numbers. That whole cultural appropriation critique of Drake and how Drake is not for the culture. How does this man wearing this, speaking in this way, with all the other attacks, he's attacked Virgil, he attacked Jay-Z, he's gone after Cardi, he's gone after everyone imaginable. It's like he's just throwing shit at a wall to see what sticks in terms of controversy, right? He's going after everyone and anyone to get attention, to garner more clicks for his music releases. But how does getting Kanye to back you, to be in your corner, where is this self-awareness that this does nothing to help that narrative? This does nothing to rebuttal that. Because listen, just as important in a rap battles is how you move afterwards and the things that you do, right? You have a chance after a rap battle. I know you're not on wax anymore, but you do have a chance with the things that you choose to do publicly, the things that you choose to release after a rap battle to make a statement. That's also a chance to rebuttal things in the rap battle. That's also a chance to take back control of your own narrative. And with Drake and Diddy Demicks being so closely aligned, I just don't see how they look at this interview and they walk away from this going, well, this is going to be a win for us. This is a feather in our cap. This is going to help us in our narrative and everything that we're trying to push back on. And probably one of the few self-aware statements from Kanye throughout this interview was, I'm jealous of Kendrick. I think you could just cut it there. That says it all. But don't worry, there's more.
To be your guy, though. And like, so all these relationships, are they repairable? Like, even the Pusha, the Jay, the like, there's a long list. Even Cardi, like, I feel like, I know you say you want to hurt them, but you might overstep the line where maybe at a point Jay's like, man, I'm cool. Like, I think after that tweet, he definitely, you know, and I don't know if these are relationships that's salvageable.
Why would I want to salvage relationships with
to a lot of people?
Why would I want to salvage relationships with broke-ass slaves and slave herders? Like everybody, so this is what I'm saying. The Jay-Z thing leads me to the NFL. Why do they want a Drake to be out of there? Why do they want somebody with no hits like Kendrick to do the Super Bowl, right?
No hits like Kendrick. Have you been under a rock? You even felt the need to remix Like That. What about Not Like Us? Yeah, that's not a hit. That didn't do any Grammys.
Like Kendrick to do the Super Bowl, right? This is a theory I had. The people that run the Super Bowl had to come to people who run the music industry and be like, you guys, you're letting your niggers get out of hand. Oh my God, that Kanye. Would somebody take a knee for it? Where's out of there? See, that's the problem. You let them last too long. In our league, they're for 2 years, 3 years, they're out of there. We deal with, we got Tom Brady. He's great. We made Mahomes throw that fucking Super Bowl, so Tom can get his 7th ring and shit. But
more conspiracies. Mahomes threw the Super Bowl. He didn't want to win it.
Guys at the music
Anyways.
industry, what you got to do, start getting smaller artists and put them on. We're going to set you up. We're going to take Rolling Loud. We're going to connect them with Live Nation. And then we're going to get a bunch of small artists. And then, you'll be able to make your money off of that. And then, if we take, Cardi's doing good, we'll make them take the blue pill. We'll have them rap about Skims. And then mention Northwest. We love Northwest. Kanye, don't worry about him. He's a lunatic. Don't worry about him.
I think this is becoming like the most overused reference nowadays. Like, if somebody wants to go super, I know what's going on. I truly see the world for what it is and all these conspiracies that are happening and just the Matrix blue pill, red pill, what is reality, what isn't reality reference. It has become like a battle cry, almost in the same way of like taking woke and manipulating woke and flipping woke. But what gets me is the whole point of what he's trying to say here, right? Is with the Super Bowl. 1, Kendrick Lamar has no hits. 2, Kendrick Lamar is a smaller artist. And this is a concerted effort by the powers that be and Lucian and UMG to manipulate and ruin Drake's career and end his career and get him out of here. And that's why the Super Bowl happened. That's why all this has gone down, which I never thought in a million years as an independent artist, as a proudly independent artist, that I would be on the side of UMG in a situation. But that's how bad it's gotten with the lawsuit and with all of that. But for me, I don't understand this argument and this narrative specifically that I see, that it was time to get rid of Drake. What? Drake, for over a decade, has been on an incredible run in terms of numbers, right? If you want to lean into that these corporations are evil, that these corporations use their artists, are only geared towards profit, sure, I can get behind that. I can get behind statements like that. But think about that. You're going against your own logic there, right? Because if it is about the numbers, if it is about the profits, then keep the same formula. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's the problem with the music industry over the years, that a lot of artists have critiqued. They don't change. They don't adapt. They keep going with the same formula. Why? Because they know it's successful. They know it makes them money. That's why you get a lot of the same recycled chord structures, the same recycled content. It's rinse and repeat. So why would they invest so much money and go so out of their way to get rid of Drake when it would be so much easier? And the wider road, the easier road, is to continue to profit with him. if their sole logic and foundation is to operate for the sake of profits. That does not make any sense. Make it make sense. Even the argument that Drake's legal team has been taken, that UMG wanted to ruin Drake's reputation so that they could renegotiate a better deal with Drake. Like what? How does that make any sense? Surely, if they want Drake and they want to profit off of Drake, they don't want his reputation to be ruined. They don't want him to be knocked off of his pedestal so that they can't continue to make the same crazy money that they were making off of him. That's just self-sabotage. That goes against the nature of corporate greed. And these are only a couple snippets from this interview. I mean, it is wild. Kanye goes on and on. Like, it must be exhausting living in his own head at this moment in time. And for me, I think I'm at a new phase with Kanye because it's hurt me. Because I've been such a huge Kanye fan over the years. Like, he was important during formative years for me and influencing me in my own music. And I always looked up to Kanye. And I love that, especially when he first broke through, right? That he could give you just a different type of lyricism, you know? And then Lupe Fiasco came through at the same time and he was hyping him up and you had the Chicago connection. It's just amazing to see, like, you know, rappers coming through at that time of mainstream, and they didn't have to sit there and glorify the violence. They didn't have to glorify the gangsterism, right? They could give you alternative topics to talk about, and it was cool and it was dope, and they made hits and it was popping. And I love what Kanye has done over the years, and nobody can take away his musical abilities. And I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to take away from the genius of Kanye. And I put an interesting question out on Twitter, like, can you separate the art from the artist? But Kanye is really getting us to a point and forcing us to re-examine this philosophical debate, because I think it's getting increasingly blurred and increasingly difficult to truly separate the art from the artist in this case. And I just can't help but wonder if there's insecurity shining through from Kanye. If Kanye just feels like he isn't as confident in his own music. He may talk like he's confident. He may be pushing it out there like he's still the greatest and he still has it. But if it was, and if you had that traction, if you had those waves and that movement, you wouldn't need to be doing all these side quests. You wouldn't have to say all these just wild, controversial things to get attention just so that you can get more music streams. Because this all really feels like Kanye is just like, he's done. He doesn't care what buttons he pushes, what boundaries, what lines that he crosses. Like, he tested it. He's been testing it for years. He's found out that he can fully get away with it. So just fully lean into it. Just say all kinds of wild shit, because that's going to get him attention for his album rollout. And that's what he's trying to do, essentially, right? He's just trying to get his music more attention. But for me, that shows the current insecurity of Kanye West. And unfortunately, for a channel like mine, it's having the opposite effect. Because I would have loved to have done an album review of Bully. That's not happening, right? I've reacted to Kanye West songs before. Like new Kanye with the buzz that we have on this channel, it'd be awesome to check out and to break down. But that's just not the path that we're on. And from my perspective, look, if I did more Kanye videos, you make money doing that, right? This isn't a choice out of, oh, I'm not doing Kanye because I'm afraid of backlash or I'm afraid of something. I'll happily talk about Kanye, just like I'm doing right here. But I felt like this video was important to serve as a cautionary tale, because I feel like we're getting away from artists accepting responsibility for their actions. I feel like we're getting into an era of social media, of mass disinformation, of mass polarity, where if you're a charismatic presence, you could just say some of the worst things in the world, but you just act like you're always right. You speak from a position of strength and power, and you will find echo chambers. You will find people who flock to that. But I just feel like that's setting a terrible precedent. That's setting a terrible example as role models. And we have a responsibility as influencers. We have a responsibility as artists, as creators, to those who look up to us, to how we inspire the next generation, and try to just do our parts to leave the world a better place than how we found it. And for me, these types of actions, this type of speech creates more division than it does to unite us. And I've always said it's a simple methodology. No matter your religion, no matter your race, no matter your background, no matter what type of music you listen to, one simple rule to live by in this world, and I think we would all be in such a better position. Treat people the way that you yourself want to be treated. Treat people with respect. You don't have to say all types of wild shit just to get attention. I know everything's geared around engagement, geared around rage baiting and getting things for click, but that's not the only path on a platform like this. That's not the only path as an artist. And hopefully there's one person out there watching this, aspiring to either come up as a YouTuber, come up as an artist, and maybe they take a little bit of this message on board. But anyways, thank you for letting me go on my rant today. Let me know what you guys think down below about this whole situation. Also, if you're here at the end, do me a huge favor, subscribe, notifications on. It really, really does go a long way. Also, if you like the content that I put out, come join the Patreon. It really does help. I'm 100% independent. This is all run and operated by me. If you want to support me, if you like what I do, then come join our Patreon family. I'll put all links down there. All right, everyone. Stay safe. Stay positive. Take care of these. Take care of these. I'll catch you again.
Sit down. Sit down. Like, wow. How we do it like that? Like, wow. How we do it like that? Like, wow. How we do it like that? Like, wow. Better sit your ass down.